Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you live from Corner of the Galaxy Studios on Thursday, February 7th, just a couple days before the LA Galaxy's very first preseason game, or at least the first preseason game that counts for anything. So we're glad to be leading you up to that Toronto game. A lot of stuff to talk about, some quote-unquote breaking news coming out here just before we started the podcast, or earlier today, reported by Sam Stejskal talking about Giovani dos Santos, so we're going to certainly get into that and certainly talk a whole bunch about it. But before we do any of that, let's make sure we talk to the man who's back in the studio, the Hammer himself. He's had his brief vacation. He's back sitting in the chair. Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great. I'm happy to be back. You know, I had a little bit of a break. It's not a vacation when you're sick and your kids have the flu, you have the flu. So I don't know that I'd call that a vacation, but again, happy to be back, and especially with the deluge of Galaxy news that we have to talk about this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is an interesting one. We're by the way, I'm just gonna say right now, we've been messing with mics now for like the last 20 minutes, and so this is as good as we can get Eric to sound.
And for those of you who are on the live stream, I am in the room. I'm not in a tunnel. You know, so, COG Studios adjacent. You know, down in the other bat cave here. So I'm actually sitting right next to Josh, but for some reason, microphone's doing their thing. But you could hear me, I could hear you. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make it work. That's how it's gonna work today. Anyway, the Galaxy getting ready and prepared for a big game coming up against Toronto. The first time you're actually probably gonna get to lay your eyes, unless you were at the quote unquote closed door scrimmage against J League's Vissel Kobe. The scrimmage, the Galaxy won 4-1 with 2 goals from Ola Kamara, 1 goal from Im Boateng. They played 120 total minutes. That was 60 minutes of starters and 60 minutes of other things. Outside of the fact that Zlatan and Ola Kamara seemed like they are picking up right where they left off there, Eric. It seems like, you know, that was a good scrimmage. Yeah. It's fine.
It seemed like mission accomplished. I mean, that was the first time that they got game-like minutes together, and so to have them walk away 4-1, say what you will about Vissel Kobe if you want to, you know, speak about the opponent, but at the end of the day, you know, from the footage that we saw, they were putting passes together. You know, Jonas stealing, Zlatan backheeling, Ola scoring. I mean, I don't care who you're playing against. If they're making plays like that already in the first scrimmage, that's a good thing. So whatever blueprint Schelotto has going, it seems like they're clicking. Obviously, you don't want to read too much into it and say, you know, we're going to win it all. We beat Vissel Kobe 4-1. But again, we saw good things, and that's exactly what you were supposed to see. The team, you know, got some game-like minutes. You saw them connect on passes. You saw them score goals. This is exactly what you want to see in the preseason.
Yeah, it's again all positives looking forward, and you know, except for the fact that Sebastian Lletget came out of that game. We'll have a little update on Sebastian Lletget here in the injury news.
Fresh off a heavy workload with the men's national team, so you know, I don't think it's too harsh. But again, given his injury history, I understand the concern. But I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, it'll see how it all. Yeah, I go. It's one of those things. It's like it's the first sign of things, but it means nothing if it goes away. But if something else happens, you sit there and go, okay, there was something going on here.
I think that's one of your famous quotes. It's nothing until it's something.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of my favorite quotes. That's what the preseason is exactly 100% about. It's nothing. It means nothing until it means something, but you won't know it means something for a really long time.
Wheels within wheels.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it goes. So anyway, a lot of stuff to get to, and certainly one of the big things that we want to talk about is Giovani dos Santos. I want to just hit the brakes on it just for a second because it's gonna be a long discussion, Eric, and I don't want to
bury the lead.
It's, you know what, that's in newspapers. You don't bury the lead. On podcasting,
print is a dead medium.
On podcasting, you can pull that back a little bit. You can let it happen. So one of the things that finally happened. Finally, after we've been telling you it's going to happen anytime now, we promise, Diego Polenta has been made official by the LA Galaxy. The 27-year-old joins on what we're being told, and the rumors certainly have, is a multi-year deal, possibly 3 years, with more than likely that third year being a club option, so 2 years and a club option, signed using targeted allocation money. That means that his salary will be somewhere between $530,000 and $1 and $1.5 million, because it has to be over the over the max budget.
I was going to say, there's a reason for that dollar being there.
That's right. So it's somewhere in between those two things at $1.5 million and $530,000, so whatever that is. The other news is that he does use an international slot, and if he uses an international slot, and if your homeboy Joao Pedro stays on loan over there.
I think you covered that last week. You guys did a great job last week. Shout out to Delmy as well. But yeah, we're not going to hold our breath for Joao to come back.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that is going to happen. But yeah, so the Galaxy currently have all 8 international slots filled. However, we're being told that perhaps a certain international or one or two of the internationals are trying to get their green card. So we'll see if they're going to have.
I know one of them even dyed their hair blonde to try to fit in with the American aesthetic.
Which one was that?
That'd be Roman Alessandrini.
Oh, you think Roman is the guy? It could be. It could be Roman. That's one of those things we're watching.
It is until it isn't, right?
That's exactly right. So anyway, so it could be Roman Alessandrini. It could be, let's see, Ola Kamara already has a green card, so that's not something you have to look at. Zlatan, clearly Zlatan wants a green card, right?
American national Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, so anyway, we're going to see, sort of how that all plays out. But as of right now, Galaxy chock full of internationals at 8. I do expect that to reduce by 1 or maybe 2 before the season actually starts, and we'll know that.
Can you still buy international slots?
You can. You can still buy them. So if
Worst
the Galaxy,
case scenario,
just go to New England, right?
Go to New England. Bob Kraft just won a Super Bowl. I heard he's giving discount prices on international slots.
That's hysterical. That we both know exactly where you would go if you need an international slot. Just go to New England. Everybody knows they have them. So anyway, so that's it. I mean, listen, Diego Polenta talked to reporters today. He's a 27-year-old Uruguayan. He was playing at Nacional. This is a guy who has played in a lot of major tournaments, has played in Italy, played in Uruguay. So he's played throughout South America. He has a ton of experience at 27 years old. If you're thinking a guy can come in and make an impact, and knowing certainly what we know about Jorgen Skjelvik and how we talked about him last year, you would think that Polenta comes in and is able to do the job that really Skjelvik couldn't do.
I thought you were going to say we got Jorgen 2.0, so I don't know if we should be concerned about that. But again, things look promising, and I'm going to use some quotes from Dennis Teclosa, because he was interviewed in the Galaxy media, social media, put out a video of him talking about it, and I think he's someone that you can trust when it comes to his scouting pedigree and what he sees in players. And he said that he's going to bring a feistiness to the defense, so I'm all for feisty. Give me feisty.
You like feisty.
Yeah, give me feisty all day long. He said it shouldn't be difficult for him to adapt playing abroad. Again, playing in Uruguay, playing in Italy, this is something that he's used to. Even though they said even at a young age, he has experience being a captain at Genoa and Nacional, so they expect a lot out of him. So if Dennis Teclosa, again, I trust his eye given his pedigree, and those all sounds like traits that the Galaxy needs. Someone who's worn the captain armband. They know what it means to be a leader on the field. They have experience playing abroad, playing in big game situations. I think this is something the fan base should be excited about, even though we've probably been excited about it for the last 2 months. It's just a matter of being officially excited now.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know how many people, I would be like, it's going to happen, and they're like, seriously? Like, you said that forever ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of knew that the Galaxy had sent over the paperwork to MLS finally earlier this week. So that finally happened. It was like, okay, that happened. So now we're like, now for reals, it's really going to happen. I think it's interesting that by the time they finally do announce Diego Polenta, that 1, it is so far past anyone being surprised or excited about it, and 2, is right in the midst of a Giovani dos Santos storm.
Yeah, of all the days for that news to drop, yeah. And so it's kind of funny. I posted on the Professional Foul at Galaxy Pro Foul on Instagram.
Yes.
Shameless plug there.
Yes.
But a few weeks ago, the world record egg was like a popular thing, and Teclosa liked it, Boateng liked it. So I said, they're liking this post. Do we have a new player going? And then I was going to make the joke when they finally signed Polenta that the egg was going to hatch.
Right.
But now, with the news cycle, the world record egg, that's months old. Yeah. That's long gone and forgotten.
That hasn't been around for a while. I'm like, that world record egg, that was last
2
week.
Weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
So it's just funny that, my joke that I had prepped and ready to go, it came and went, but I stuck to my guns, still posted it.
Good job. Way to go. And people are like, why is Polenta, is there a food joke out of this?
Does that match Polenta? I don't think that goes with the corn base that we're trying to go for here.
No, but Polenta had some quotes. He did talk to reporters today, so I want to give you some of those quotes. On joining the club, defender Diego Polenta says, thank you very much. The truth is, I'm very happy. It's a big challenge. The truth is, I am beyond happy. My family and I had accepted this challenge, and the truth is, I am proud and happy to be here. on how he is kept fit. He says it was 6 months in which it was also because I decided to be in that situation. You have to remember, let me cut off the quotes, that Polenta hasn't played for 6 months.
Yeah, and that was something that we brought up as a concern.
Right.
Why was he missing time if he's someone who's an elite player and going to make an impact? Why did he have time off? So I'm interested to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, so on that exact note on why he took it off, let's skip to this quote. He says, the 6 months were due to a personal decision when I was in Uruguay playing for Nacional, and the truth is it was a great time in my life. It was lovely. I have the best memories, but I wanted to have things that way. I was a bit bored to be there, being there every day, and I decided to be calm and train alone. I went to live in the countryside, which is something that I love and nothing else. That's what I decided. I now choose this league. One, because for me, it's very important that the coach called me, that he looked for me, and that I had an itch to get back to be able to play, and I didn't think twice when I was told it was this team. Today, it is the league that's growing a lot and has great players in form, and for me, it's a big challenge. So again, just sort of, a guy, I don't know. For me, Eric, I'll tell you right now, whenever I read all this, I'm like, oh, he's Landon Donovan, only a defender.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was chomping at the bit, ready for that joke. All I heard, and I was thinking in my head, Uruguayan Landon Donovan.
Yes,
we got him again.
We got him again.
So we're not getting Jorgen 2.0. We're getting Landon 2.0.
It is interesting. I mean, this seems like he's more of a thinker, right? He's Landon Donovan. He's more of a thinker. I want to take time to be by myself. I want to think about it.
As for a trade as a center back, that's what you want. You want someone who's going to be methodical and make those plays. So if we're picking nits. That's what we do here. The hype video that they showed, the first clip of him is him scoring a goal.
Right, and you're like,
and it's like, wait,
he's a defender,
right? It was a beautiful goal.
Right.
Give it that. And then it shows clips of him making tackles and stealing the ball. So you expect to see more of that. So it was just kind of interesting if we're going to pick nits there with the video, the hype video.
Oh, it's always. I always love defender hype videos. It's like, show me some of that sweet defense. Nope, it's just headed goals. It's just headed goals.
And then the other one that was funny is when they announced Antuna. The first clip that they showed was him crossing a ball. It was him crossing it, first of all, and then the person who hit it straight at the keeper, and the keeper just botched it.
And it goes in.
Do you open with that highlight? I mean, yeah, you can show that because he crossed the ball, but I don't know that you open with that.
Right.
Maybe bury that in the middle, in between the goals.
Yeah, it's definitely one of. I don't know. It's all this stuff. Let's see. Whenever he was asked about what he gained from being in the countryside by himself, he says, "I gained tranquility. I gained being able to enjoy life as it is with my family. I was lucky to go abroad when I was 14 years old, when a team from Italy signed me, and I was in Italy for 7 years. I later returned to Uruguay. I played for Nacional, which was great for me, and I'm very happy and thankful to the club. I wanted to enjoy what I had. I wanted to enjoy what I had maybe missed before when I left Uruguay at a young age, so I decided to take that sabbatical. I had some offers, but it was a decision that at the time it was what it was. And you will get to know me. I'm a little bit like that, Landon Donovan." It sounds like Landon. I'm just like, is this Landon?
You know what side I hope he works on is next to Rolf.
Rolf,
two guys who do yoga, they meditate, they're mindful. This is going to be a good pairing. I like these guys already.
It's like in Major League 2 where Pedro Serrano, right?
Yeah,
where he finds
himself
his inner peace. Yes, exactly. Good. Glad we both got that.
Perfect.
He goes, and he continued. He goes, a little bit of thinking about things and doing them, in the moment, not overthinking things, living the moment. And now I'm here and I'm happy. This is my moment.
Perfect.
There you go.
It's your time to shine. He said all the right things.
He said the fine. I mean, you have to ask him why he didn't play soccer for the last 6 months. And he gave you the answer.
And if he said, I got bored, that could be a red flag. But from the way he's describing himself, again, we don't know him personally. We don't know what, we talk about mental health is a big trigger word now. He took that time off. He didn't drive himself crazy. He gave himself, sounds like he set himself and he's ready to come back. And if DTK says he's going to be feisty, I'm all for it.
Let's see. Galaxy currently have 24 players listed on the roster. That is official signings. So you're looking at 8 internationals and approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I have 6 defenders? Is that it?
This is my favorite part is when you count on the pod.
It is. Everybody loves that point.
It's educational.
It is.
So you can get the count. One
defender. One defender. Yes,
oh.
Exactly. So 6 defenders right now currently on the list. I was talking to my good friend Chris Tucker, and just a little bit about the defense. We're going back and forth, just sort of hitting it. It was like, hey, you saw what happened whenever Rolf Felcher had to come out in the intra-squad scrimmage. Felcher did not play in the Vissel Kobe game, and so that didn't happen. Giovani dos Santos didn't play in the Vissel Kobe game, but you saw what happened is that Rolf Felcher went out, and you had basically a Galaxy 2 guy coming in to fill in. So you had Araujo, I believe.
I was going to say, it smells a little bit like 2016 in here.
Yeah, it does in the fact that you're like, okay.
Or 2017, excuse me.
I mean, here's the thing, is that you sit there and go, okay, you like that the offense is back, and you like that there's that familiarity, and that I think the Galaxy pick up probably 3 or 4 games on the familiarity of the most of the team being back. But you still look at how fragile they are on defense.
It's very thin, and again, you don't want to start throwing. Again, your Rafa Garcia's, your Giassi Zardes at right back. Are they going to convert Perry Kitchen to a right back if there's not a spot for him in the midfield? You don't want to see them start tinkering with things like, let's try it out.
Yeah.
When you start to tinker, those people have to, these players have to learn that position and get in rhythm if that's not something they're used to doing. It's a recipe for disaster, and we've seen that movie before, and so that's the concern. So. Hopefully their work is not done. 24 roster spots. There's room to grow here.
There seems to be for sure. It'll be 24 roster spots.
Yeah,
All right.
But there's also preseason games happening now, so there's not tons of time.
I just don't know where to sit on some of this stuff, which is, the Galaxy are, I mean, they're really thin at defense. This has the potential to completely wreck their entire season.
Yeah, a few injuries and you're absolutely right. Down goes the ship. I don't care how good your offense is. We've seen this movie.
Right.
We've seen it in 2017 when injuries go down and you try to do a makeshift back line, and then we saw it last season when your defense isn't strong. Even with a strong offense, you still end up dropping points, and so that's the danger that they're in right now.
Ah, yes.
Good times.
Good times. All the positivity it's flowing through the show.
It's like riding a bike. We're right back into the same old Galaxy narratives that we've had.
It's hard to get away from them whenever you have all of these different things. So, I mean, I certainly understand why people would be, hesitant to sort of ordain this Galaxy team as something more than what it is right now. So, anyway, very interesting stuff. Let's get to Giovani dos Santos now, because there's some other stuff, and we're certainly going to cover it, but this really needs to take up the bulk of our time, because this is quite, I don't know, a shock. I think I'm over the shock now. It's one of those things where I sit there and you read the report and you're like, okay, that really wasn't at all what I was thinking.
And it's something that a lot of people mention. Well, why doesn't Giovani restructure? Because he's the one who's making the most. He doesn't deserve that money. And you just think, that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. And then it comes out and it's like, well, how does that work?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's one of those where I sit there and I go, okay, all the people, and by the way, I've already been told that I owe like 7 or 8 people an apology, because I'm like, that's ridiculous. So anyway, Sam Stejskal, reporting for MLSsoccer.com. He's a contributor there, so an independent reporter that works and writes for basically MLSsoccer.com. This is why he's able to get some of the stuff. We can talk about how the league is reporting on its own players and rumors some other time.
News from the league website.
From the league website, but Sam is a great reporter, and he's nailing this.
To him.
No, not at all. I love Sam. Anyway, Sam reporting that the LA Galaxy are trying to renegotiate Giovani dos Santos' contract. Now, let's use some terms correctly, because I don't want people to get the idea. This is not a quote-unquote buy-down, so let's not talk about it as a buy-down. And the only thing that gets bought down, one, you can't buy down Roman Alessandrini's salary either. You would have to renegotiate a contract, which would give him a salary of under or at $1.5 million, and then you could apply TAM to buy down that to underneath the salary cap. Yeah. That's how that works.
And I think the first line of the article says, a contract so he won't count as a designated player.
Yes.
Doesn't mean he won't be a designated player, but he's not going to count. So that kind of implies that there's some kind of machination that is going to, it's going to be odd.
Well, TAM is a mechanism that allows for designated players to not count as designated players. So I mean that's
essentially what TAM is. Yeah.
That is exactly what it is. So you can see all of this stuff. Okay, so basically Stejskal reporting that the LA Galaxy are attempting to restructure Giovani dos Santos' contract, and restructuring is the same as basically tearing it up and really doing a new one, because there's contractual things that have to be met, and those are basically going to get thrown out the window. And they're going to restructure that and basically try to get Giovani dos Santos to fit under the $1.5 million ceiling of TAM, so at $1.5 million. Remember, that was the deal that Zlatan was on last year. So this is Giovani dos Santos going from $6 million in 2018, likely $6.5 million in 2019 if his contract escalates the way it is.
The same pattern that it had in years past.
That's right. It's been escalating by $500,000. And so you look this whole thing, and so he's likely going to get $6.5 million in 2019, and the LA Galaxy are going to somehow I don't know exactly what magic they've talked to him, and we're going to go over some of this, why this may be. But the LA Galaxy are going to get him to sign a contract for $1.5 million over an extended period of time. How long that is, we don't know, but there is an extension to the contract, basically. And it's not even really an extension because the contract gets torn up. It's a new contract. It would just be a new contract at 3 years. So yeah, it
makes my stomach turn saying that 3 more years.
Well, to be honest with you, I see it as 4 years, and this is why. If you're saying, yeah, I know, it makes me feel better. If you're saying that it's $6 million,
yeah,
and that he's going to turn down $6 million, then he's going to want to be made whole somehow, and that's likely with the extension of the contract.
If you do the math, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. That's 6.
That's 6.
And there's still another $500,000 in there.
Maybe he takes a pay cut.
Maybe that's 5 years that we have. 5 more years of Giovani dos Santos. So
I don't know. That's all speculation, and that's our guess. People are asking, well, at $1.5 million, would he still have a no trade clause? I would imagine the Galaxy would look to make sure there is no trade clause.
I think if they restructure it, they would. But does he agree to that deal if that's in there?
And here's the issue with the buyout is that, as Kevin and I talked about, I believe on Monday, is that Giovani dos Santos really has to agree to these terms and agree to be bought out. And usually when we talk about buyouts, let's again defining some terms. When we're talking about buyouts, we're talking about usually a number that is less than the contract amount that is still owed and is agreed to by both parties. That way that person can grab their cash and then go somewhere else. And that's usually what a buyout is sort of consisting of.
Yeah, look up Carmelo Anthony in the dictionary for the NBA fans out there.
And you can see it in a bunch of different things. But he has to agree to that in order to happen. The other thing is that the Galaxy, even it seems as if even the $6 million or the $6.5 million, if they just would pay that all out, that they still might need his input on that to be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. Now, sometimes that means that that's a buyout and you can go play for another team, or sometimes it's like, listen, we just want you out of here, so we're going to pay $6.5 million or $6 million, and you can just go somewhere else, but you're not allowed to play.
Yeah, to me, I think that's, again, he's been in training, he has a brother on the team, and that makes things very, very murky. But to me, I mentioned something earlier this week. I don't think there's a place for him. When you think about, we talked about Felcher going out with an injury, Legit going out with an injury. Giovani didn't show up. He didn't show up to training, and this has happened multiple times. He doesn't, go to events where fans are there. He misses games altogether. Here's their first chance to play a real opponent, and you saw the players posting on their social media. They're excited to play against Podolski and Iniesta and Vieira, and Dos Santos can't get out there. So he's either ducking his responsibilities and just collecting the check and doing as much as he can not to actually play a game, or he's wildly injury prone and that's not a great thing either. And so it's just one of those things where it doesn't seem like the cost is worth it. I think the only solution at this point should be to buy him out because, the story came out. AEG gave permission to buy him out, then buy him out. And the part that's frustrating is you need his approval to do it. In other sports, I know you cut a player and then the club would be in breach of contract or whatever it is, and they'd have to pay some sum for cutting him or whatever it is. So it seems to me odd that he has the power in this situation, and it's not the Galaxy who can cut him, and then whatever they do, whatever the penalty is for cutting him, paying him and having him scram. To me, that seems like the only option. If for some strange reason, and again, it wouldn't surprise me that MLS is different from other leagues where they need him to co-sign, that's the only reason that I think they'd be considering these options.
Right.
But to add more years, given what we've already seen, you posted your stats on your article. We saw the graph. He started low, peaked, and then he's already on the downward trend. He's already on the way down. So I just don't see a spot for him on this team, and I think the best option is just to get rid of him.
He's made over $17 million from the LA Galaxy since signing with them.
It's criminal almost.
It
really
gets
is.
to that point. That's not counting the quote-unquote $6 million that he's owed probably for 2019, so you can add on to that if, whatever that ends up being, $23 million or $23.5 million.
And I've gone back and forth because you don't want to be, I'm Mr. Rainbows and Butterflies. You want to be positive. I said, well, he's shown glimpses of talent, and maybe, last year, the last game against Houston, we were talking about it. We said, in the second half, if you need a goal, who do you bring on? You could bring on Giovani, and we saw it. He came out and he didn't make an impact. He hasn't shown the ability to make an impact on a game for the last 2 years, and I don't think it's a wise decision to bring him back into the fold with 2 more years of having him not get the reps, not improve, not show growth. I don't see how you can bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, again, we get into, why does it make sense for the Galaxy? People are trying to throw this out, and it's difficult for me to sit here and say, why does it make sense for Gio to turn down $6 million when he could just have $6 million this year? But the LA Galaxy now are in a position where they need the designated player spot. So it's not like they can just sit there and go, okay, and people go, well, then just go renegotiate with Roman Alessandrini. He has a contract.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to renegotiate, he doesn't have to renegotiate. There's nothing that says that.
And that's the thing. If you want Giovani to renegotiate, and then he doesn't want to do it. Well, why doesn't Romain do it? Well, why does Giovani get to do it and Romain doesn't get to do it? So it just seems odd.
I'll say that in terms of Alessandrini as well, people say, well, just guarantee him money on the backside, but the average of the contracts also matters. And so you could sign Roman to a 1-year deal, like have him tear up his contract for $1.8 or $1.9 million.
A wink and a smile and a... Yeah.
We promise that after this 1 year, you can't do it. And I don't even know if MLS would allow it. It would be one of those where they'd be like, wait a minute.
That's the whole other piece. And then the other piece of this is I've heard people say, well, you're banking on the fact that he's gonna be motivated. He wants to get back on the field. He wants to prove people wrong. Show us that. Show up to training. Show up to the scrimmages. Show us that you have the desire to want to prove fans wrong and to show that you could still play. He's not showing that.
No, he's not.
Why would you bank on that if he hasn't shown us 3 weeks into the preseason? He's already missing days.
Here's the scenario that goes through my head thinking of it from Giovani dos Santos. Is why would Gio agree to this, right? Why would Gio agree to take a $4.5 million cut? What that doesn't, again, in my mind, I'm sitting there going, no, take the 6. Like, what are you doing? So there's 2 things that sort of pop in my mind. The first one is the most unlikely. Gio's just being nice. He wants to get back the money. He doesn't think he's earned it. So that's the one that I'm like, okay, no, that's not it. So the other thing is that you sit there and go, okay, it was likely that Papa dos Santos was out there shopping Gio in terms of, hey, he wants to leave, he wants to go somewhere, and it's likely that it came back and said, no. Nobody wants you.
No one wants to pay that price. That's for sure.
And it's the price, and I mean, quite honestly, I think the Galaxy would let him leave on a free transfer if it didn't cost him any more money.
Absolutely, that's a win-win-win,
right?
Yeah.
And they might even be like, hey, listen, we'll give him to you. We'll throw in $1 million. You can have him. We'll give you money to take him. So that's all likely. So it's likely that there's no market for Giovani dos Santos. I was told that last year that the Galaxy thought that there was still a market for Gio and that he could still find a place to be. But I don't believe that anymore. And, talking to some Mexican football experts, it doesn't seem like there's a market for him. So you go and you try to find that and you say, okay, so Gio doesn't have a market. He's about to be without a team.
And we're going to give him 3 more years. We're going to be that market.
Yes.
We're the dummies.
Yes. Well, but here's the thing is that it's like, okay, well, we know that we can't keep him on his salary if we can't get rid of him, and if we can't negotiate down Roman Alessandrini's, and we can't negotiate down Jonathan Dos Santos's, and you can't negotiate down Zlatan's, you just gave him the DP. He ain't giving back any money.
I know we said 7.2.
Yeah, but like, how about you play for 1.5 again? So you go and look at that. So you look at where it is, and how can the Galaxy be roster compliant by March 1st? Well, it's to get Giovani dos Santos to do it. So why would he agree to it? Because nobody wants him. And he has a chance, even at $1.5 million over the next 2 to 4 years. Let's just say it's probably that.
That's more attractive than $6 million if you're another team.
Yeah, and it is more attractive, but it's also the fact that Giovani dos Santos, if he comes and if he plays, and in his mind, if he thinks that it's possible for him to resurrect his career, he's going to say, okay, I'll take the less money, I'll be the team player on this, and yeah, we'll go ahead and make that work. But you're right that he gets more attractive at $1.5 million. But by the way, that doesn't mean anything. And I think we get confused because a lot of times in the American sports, what you're making in salary matters whenever you get traded because of the salary cap, and it matters in MLS.
Yes.
But if Giovani dos Santos was to be wanted by somebody
outside of
MLS,
then no salary cap,
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Well, but the salary cap, but it's important to know that the player negotiates the terms with the team. The transfer gets negotiated between the clubs.
Yes.
So the Galaxy would be like, they'd be like, okay, how much do you want for Giovani dos Santos? They're like, here you go, right? Okay, so they give it to him. They give it whoever wants him. Okay, but then whenever you look at that,
he can seal the deal.
He can seal the deal. So that means that he can still he can make whatever he wants at these other places.
But if they've been shopping around and no dice, then we know the answer.
Then he has no place to go.
My biggest issue is if you're banking on him to resurrect his career, you have to show up.
What choice did the Galaxy have now, though? Because ultimately,
if he has all the leverage, if he needs to co-sign, then they don't have a choice. Because if my option is not the option where you just cut him and pay whatever consequence it is for cutting him or releasing him,
right,
or whatever it is, to me, that puts the leverage in the Galaxy's hand. It's just, are you willing to do that? And it seems like they had permission from AEG to do that, but for some reason, this report contradicts that. I don't know. To me, that seems like the best option. But if it's not an option at all, then of course, then you have to pay him. You have to keep him. And if you have to do that, you made that mistake. You already agreed to up Zlatan's money because you need to keep him here. You want to try to renegotiate for others, but I don't know. Then that's the situation that they're in. The third option, the one you didn't mention, is that he just wants to stay with his brother and his family.
Yeah.
They don't want to they don't want to be separated again. There's a reason why he came,
right,
and he just wants to be in Los Angeles with his brother and just hang out here.
But that's basically like saying he's being nice again, that he's willing to take a pay cut of that much just to hang out with his brother. And
it wouldn't surprise me. He's not doing it to play soccer.
I mean,
so I might as well hang out and go to reggaeton concerts and hang out with his brother and play with his chihuahuas and have a good time. I'm sorry, Pomeranians.
Pomeranians.
I don't want to be called anything.
Yes, that was uncalled for.
Listen, I'm done. I'm done with Giovani dos Santos. I'm done playing nice.
I can tell. I think if you're looking at it from the Galaxy perspective, is he more attractive if he can pick up, and is he more attractive at 1.5? The money really doesn't matter to any teams who are looking because they're going to renegotiate anyway. It's not even the $6 million. The fact is that if Gio takes the pay cut, he takes the pay cut. I love my sister, but I wouldn't give up $4.5 million to hang out with her.
I would not. No.
Your brother?
No,
absolutely not. Okay, good. I just want to make sure we were on the same page here.
He'd understand.
Yeah, my sister would understand. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be like, I'll take you out to dinner. All right. Afterwards.
In 2 years.
That's right.
See you in 2 years.
That's right. We can hang out. I can afford to hang out anywhere you want. Okay, $4.5 million. But anyway, I mean that's where it sits. And this is something that we didn't see coming because, quite honestly, it doesn't make any sense from the Giovani dos Santos side, and it doesn't make any sense from the Galaxy side, but it makes sense if there's no other options, and that's sort of where I feel that the Galaxy are, and that's why it can make sense. And not only that, I'll tell you right now, this seems likely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks. After all that, you let me say all that. And Giovani dos Santos is going to be our starting center midfield on March 2nd. Thank you.
That's another question, though. That is absolutely another question. Where on God's green earth does Giovani dos Santos play in this formation? Because, one, he hasn't been healthy enough to play in this formation at any time. I mean, for me, he's a winger. He's going to take over Antuna's spot. What, you're gonna
because that's worked in the past, right?
I mean, listen, if we're banking on the past of what has worked, all right, you can't exactly go there with Giovani dos Santos.
Get in the time machine. We go to 2011, and we have him just recreate that Mexico-USA goal over and over again.
Yeah.
Until we can do that, I don't like the options. But if this does happen, if it is they do have to keep him. You just hope that you hope we're not locked in for more years because that really puts him in a bad spot. But if there's one thing that I've learned.
Yes.
Covering MLS.
Yes.
Whatever situation does not make sense.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense on the Giovani side. Doesn't make sense on the Galaxy side. So that's exactly how it's going to go down.
By the way, people are certainly signing in on where Giovani dos Santos' best position is. I would say that so far in the chat room, bench is the winner. There
My
right
favorite
now.
one, Hugo on Twitter. He said selling acai bowls.
Yes.
I was like. He's living on the acai bowls he made in 2011. I don't know that he could still make them like he used to.
I will attempt to get political for 1 second just because I think it's funny. Somebody put on Facebook, it's like signing Gio to an extension is like re-electing Trump for another 4 years. And I thought that regardless, I thought it was funny.
Again,
it was a
talk
good
about things that are going to happen.
It was a good time.
Things that don't make sense that will happen.
I was laughing and I enjoy laughing, and so thank you for that. I appreciate it. But yeah,
good times.
I mean, Giovani dos Santos, this is a crazy sort of thing. We've been told that the decision is coming. Dennis Closa said it. Dennis Closa was busy in a meeting, so DTK was not able to talk to anybody. If you go to the website, cornerofthegalaxy.com, not only do we have an analysis piece I wrote up there about Giovani dos Santos, and I tried to rack my brain of what are the possible reasons for all this happening, and I think I come up with like 12 or 13 other ones since then, but just take that to heart and read that. But you had Larry Morgan who talked to Chris Klein, and really... It's interesting to hear Chris Klein hold Dennis DeClosa and Guillermo Barros Schelotto at arm's length at all times now. It is these guys are making a decision. Yeah. They know what's best for the club, and I'm going to let them make that decision. There is no I right now.
And you don't hear and see Klein making as many comments as he had in years past. Right now, they're very, very good about putting DTK out front, putting Scalotto out front, and really making sure that they're the ones making the statements. To the point where I said earlier, Teclosa is the one who, seems to have the scouting mind and is bringing in Polenta and has good things to say. They're kind of wearing these decisions that are coming in. And so I absolutely agree. It's not Klein saying, I'm doing this. He's saying they're doing it, and I brought them in to do it and fix it.
I think just looking at Giovani dos Santos from all these different angles, it has become apparent that he's going to be. It seems like he's going to be stuck on the Galaxy for a while. I mean, if the extension comes through, Eric, it's not for 1 year.
Yeah,
it's got to be okay. So it's at least 2 years.
And then we're going to be doing the same song and dance next year. Can we offload him to a Liga MX team? Is there someone who's going to want to pick up? Because they're still. If you do extend him, the idea is not to keep him for a long time. And so. Giovanni, I know you're listening. Listen.
Yeah, we know you listen to this podcast all the time.
You heard what I said. The fans don't want you here. You're not well liked.
Right.
You haven't performed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be here. Go find somewhere else to go. Take your $6.5 million. Have a vacation. Take the advice from Polenta. Go find yourself. Center yourself. Take a little sabbatical. I think that's the right decision.
There has to be
for the good of the club.
There has to be something that's keeping that from happening, and that's sort of what it goes to. Is if you are in all this problems, if you were getting to the point where you're like, okay, the best option in my mind is to extend the contract, then what is keeping things from happening in this area? Because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, again, the other big deal is that even if you're able to buy out the contract or terminate the contract and you give him $6 million and he goes away, you also get $1.5 million in TAM, which the Galaxy need on defenders.
You end up winning in the long run, I think. So
yeah, but that's not going to happen. It's not happening now. I'm telling you.
And you know what? I'm going to totally contradict myself.
Yeah.
And for that, I respect Giovani dos Santos for being stubborn and saying, "Screw you! I'm going to do whatever I want."
Right.
If he has the leverage and he's choosing to flex his muscles there,
that's it.
In a strange way, I respect that.
Wow.
I don't like it.
Wow.
And I'm going to still boo you every chance I get. But I respect it.
Irvin says that the LA Galaxy should trade Giovani dos Santos to LOLFC for a fast track pass. That's a good idea, though. The fast track?
It's a smart move.
It's a smart. It's in traffic.
Here's the only issue.
Yeah.
You still have to pay when you get in the fast track lane. If you unlimited fast track.
Maybe like free fast track. You have to have 4 people in the car at all times. That way you can get through like however it goes. Okay.
I think that would be the ultimate if he were to end up. So someone mentioned that to me earlier.
Over to LAFC.
But MLS wouldn't allow that.
I mean, they would. If the Galaxy were like, we don't want them.
And they paid the full salary?
Yeah.
They picked it up? Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time the Galaxy dumped a DP they didn't want on the team from a team across the way.
We've seen this, again, history repeating itself.
Juan Pablo Angel. So, let's see. Did that happen at any other times? I'm trying to think. I thought there were more than one, but the big one was JPA.
Yes.
So, the sexiest man alive. That man was in up close in person, I'll tell you right now. There was...
You obviously haven't seen Sebastian Lletget then.
This is true. Apparently, I've already been out. All right. So yeah, that's sort of where we sit with Giovani dos Santos. I wish I had more, sort of confirmed things. I'm just going to tell you that it seems likely that it's going to happen. It seems that the LA Galaxy are going to keep all 4 of their quote-unquote DPs. There will be some morons who are on Twitter, and they're already out there. They're bending the rules for the LA Galaxy. And it's the opposite of bending the rules for the LA Galaxy. They're enforcing the rules.
They're sticking them with more years of a DP they don't want.
It is absolutely one of those things where you sit there and go, this is like in the NBA, like a bad contract. This is a bad contract.
And we're seeing it. And again, if you're into the Lakers, we saw where bad contracts they can land you in this cycle where you're perpetually making trades and signing people to try to get out from under it, and you just end up you keep spinning your wheels to no progress. So. That's the fear, is that this doesn't handicap them for this year.
Yeah, it handicaps them again
for years to come.
Well, think about this: another $1.5 million next year.
Yeah,
another $1.5 million after that.
It has to add up to 6.
So either the Galaxy are waiting on the league to change the salary structure, and that was out there. And listen, I always like the waiting on the league to change, like, sort of a vibe.
Well,
that
we were supposed to get 4 DPs, or it was supposed to be 2 DPs, so
that didn't happen.
It doesn't happen. So
Maybe more TAM. Nope, that didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, but they do change things, so you can bank on them changing it, but you can also be very wrong about it because it's all up to the owners, especially the TAM. I'll say this as well: the collective bargaining agreement is coming up at the end of this year. So thinking that you're going to know anything about what's going to happen in 2020,
they're going to come in with their list of what they want in the contract. So yeah, that's interesting.
and certainly if you are. If you're talking about, the $1.5 million that can be spent elsewhere in the Galaxy, need that money.
That hurts more than
having Giovani dos Santos has $6 million.
If you kept him as a DP and you had to deal with it and you bought someone else down, okay. But now you're giving him your TAM money that you could be using to get other players, to get a right back, to get people to provide depth up front, and so it's very frustrating that this is again. It's almost worse than having him as a DP.
Opportunity costs. What could you be doing with that money that you can't be doing because you have to pay Giovani dos Santos? It's not a good deal. I mean, I'm going to sit here and not sit on the fence, but I'm going to sit here and tell you this isn't a good deal on the face. Yeah. Whenever you look at this and what the likelihood of success is. Now, is Giovani dos Santos going to be better than he was last year? Well, you would certainly hope so with 824 minutes that he played, but is anybody going to guarantee that?
Yeah.
Somebody said... over under how many games does Giovani dos Santos played, and they put it at 25.
Oh, under.
Under.
Way under.
Okay, so I mean, I know. I was like, I think you put it too high.
25 was generous.
20
makes you think.
Okay.
I still go under, but 20 is.
I think
20 is the correct.
He
line.
started 10, I think, and played in 13.
I think 20 is the correct line.
Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna. There we go. That's all we got. All right, so that's Gio.
Can we change the topic?
Do you want to go to something more controversial? I mean, where do you want to go?
Is
How about
it really?
this? Well, I mean, we certainly could. I could argue that some of these topics are more controversial than. I mean, everybody seems to be on the same side of the ball whenever it comes to Giovani dos Santos, which is. Can he not be on the team anymore? Yeah. And that he's hamstringing the LA Galaxy from a business side of things. So granted, he was brought in as a business move, and now he's hamstringing them on the business side.
Yeah, or do you bury him where he doesn't even make 18s, and you pay it, and you just act like he's not on the team, and you just game plan without him. So is that an option?
Yeah.
Because then we're just paying the salary.
You can, but I mean, again,
it doesn't benefit you. It
doesn't help. I mean, there's lots of things. Again, you can go back and we can certainly talk about, the way that the Galaxy have changed over the years and where the places and the pieces were. And certainly there was a time, and I know somebody said, Irvin's trying to say, remember when Josh said Keane was in Gio's way? And that was true, by the way.
Yeah.
It still was true. Keane was in Giovani dos Santos' way. That doesn't mean anything.
Keane, is this like those Chuck Norris quotes? Gio does not get in Keane's way, or Keane doesn't.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I'll flip it.
No, that was true. Robbie Keane's best position, his last year with the LA Galaxy, was on the bench a lot of times. Yes, that was true. He lost the legs. That doesn't mean anything before.
Doesn't mean he didn't have class, but yeah,
it's the same. Him and Stevie G were sitting right next to each other on the bench, and in a lot of ways, that's probably where they deserve to be. Be careful he doesn't jump out from behind you.
I will not say unkind words. I've already said enough.
Giant Robbie Keane poster in the studio, and he's trashing Robbie Keane. That's a good idea.
That was not me. I did not trash Robbie Keane.
It's going to come alive.
You said he lost a step. I did not say such unkind words.
It will come alive. All right. Let's see. Let's go to, if we want, the LA Galaxy topping the list of MLS teams in football's or Soccer X's football finance edition. So basically, this is ranking all of the clubs in the soccer world, basically the top 100, in their financial power. Okay. It is their overall. It is their power within the thing. I mean, this isn't on revenues.
Okay, it's not revenue. It's not based on.
It's really how much money does your owner have. That's basically what this is saying.
Well, then that makes sense.
Yeah, the LA Galaxy top all MLS clubs by being ranked 18th in the world. 18th in the world. The FF 100, the Football Finance 100 rank.
FF 100. I think I watched that on.
Woo!
It was a motorsport, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Sunday. The LA Galaxy 18th, Seattle Sounders 21st, New England Revolution. This is how you know this thing's already messed up.
And
New England Revolution.
And these are where
it's because Bob
MLS,
Kraft.
Yeah.
It's AEG. That's why LA Galaxy.
AEG, you understand. You see all the things that they're involved with in music and their ownership group. It totally makes sense why the Galaxy would be the top MLS club to be there. But to see some of the other names on there, I guess I mean, it does make sense with Kraft.
Chicago Fire down at the very bottom of MLS teams at 57.
Well, again, makes sense.
Orlando
but
City.
Still 57. If you think of how many clubs there are in the world and how many big name clubs there are, the fact that the Chicago Fire are 57, that's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah, the Atlanta United, the Darlings, have come in at number 50 overall. And granted, it's totally ranked not on the club and how good the club is playing. It's on how much money the owner has. That's really it.
That means the Rapids are above them as well. If you count, their ownership group.
They are. The Rapids are actually fourth. They're the 31st overall.
The Kroenke and that type of ownership group.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what it is. So that's the 2019 edition for right now. We'll see how that ends up panning out in 2020 and how that changes. But it's one of those things that pops up every once in a while, and it's still humorous every time I see it.
It is what it is. I mean, it's unless the company goes bankrupt, which is not going to happen anytime soon. They're just always going to land on these lists.
Yeah, they are. Or they get sold, and then that owner doesn't have.
It is until it isn't.
Yeah, but still. Let's talk about the defending MLS Cup champs real quick. It looks likely the LA Galaxy will face off against Atlanta United in a closed-door scrimmage on February 13th. I don't know exactly where it's going to be held. I don't have a lot of things. I talked to the Galaxy, and they were like, let me get back to you on that. But it seems that this is happening.
Why don't you shut your trap, Guesman? I think that was the exact
quote.
Yeah,
whatever. It's been, I've long since gotten past that point. So it looks like they're playing. Atlanta United's training in Fullerton, at Cal State Fullerton, I believe, or right around that area. So they're not too far away. I would guess they'd probably travel down to Dignity Health Sports Park, the complex there.
And again, if you're hosting the Darlings, the champions of MLS, it'll probably be at the track and field stadium, you would guess. You wouldn't be surprised if they're not inviting people in. They're not charging $125. Maybe it is going to be on the practice field.
It says closed door.
Yeah, maybe that is practice field.
It could be another wacky one too. I mean, you saw the Vissel Kobe one was 120 minutes.
They kept saying the first 30-minute period. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and
30, 30, 30, 30.
But they played 4, so it's technically quarters, but they didn't call it quarters.
No, and it was 120 minutes.
Yeah,
whatever.
The math guy in me had an issue with that.
However that ends up happening, but yeah, so it looks likely the LA Galaxy will face off against Atlanta United. That sort of slots in between all the other ones that we have.
Which is a good thing. You want to play a team with talent on the field, defending champions, guys who know how to play within the league. So if you think the Vissel Kobe game, if you want to discount that, then you can't discount Atlanta because that's going to be a good test. They beat the people from across town 7-1 in a scrimmage. So we'll see where you can compare, if you can compare them at all.
Well, let's now go to something maybe that has fans a little happier, a little bit better. The LA Galaxy announced that they will have 5 stars.
They're back.
They're back. 5 stars on the so my shirts that had 5 stars on that I was able to take a dig at the Galaxy. I guess they took
that ship has
took
sailed.
some heart there and certainly how it goes. But it certainly seems that the 5 stars are back. They've announced it. They've shown the primary kit, which doesn't change from last year, and then they have the Night Navy, which will be debuted on 2/17 at that kit launch and sort of team introduction that they're having on at the Novo.
The Novo in downtown LA, across from it's in LA Live.
Yeah.
And so it's something that was a very successful event that they ran last year. So they're going to run it back, and I think people saw. And this is something after MLS Media Day, interviews with Zlatan and Ola Kamara, they were wearing jackets with 5 stars. So this is something that we kind of knew was coming, but it was just made official that we're getting 5 stars back. And then it just made me laugh because I remember after the Galaxy won 5 championships, MLS released this infographic on what their new star rules were.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So defending champions get a big gold star. 2 years post-championship, it becomes a silver star. And then if you've had 5 championships, you only get 1 gold star. So it just doesn't make any sense. So it tells me they completely threw out these rules. Because if you look at our crest now, there's a gold star and 4 silver stars. So what does that mean? Does that mean we have 9 championships? Or does that mean they're not counting those rules? Does the 5th one become gold? So it just seems confusing. But the bottom line is that we have 5 stars. It's something fans have been asking for. People have been clamoring. We have 5 championships. This is our chance to kind of flex on our opponents and say, if you want to look at our history, we've been here. They released the hype video as well. This just kind of reinforces the pedigree that the LA Galaxy has.
Yeah, it does. And again, I think it's one of those things, and I remember when it happened, and I remember going, you know what, this probably isn't that big of a deal. Like, it was one of those things I'm just like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. And it was something I was wrong about. Yeah. And it's one of the many things I was wrong about. Who knows? But no, I mean, it is a big deal. A club with the history of the LA Galaxy should be able to proudly display that history, and the 5 stars are a display of that history and of their dominance against. When you go up and against an opponent, you want to be able to show there are 5 stars on the crest, and that means something to people who are across the way. I mean, maybe sometimes it means you have a target on your back, Eric. Maybe.
Well, 100%. I think that's the way people. Part of the Galaxy's down seasons. I think 100% people took joy in the fact that the Galaxy were bottom of the league and people got to kind of mop the floor with them. So I think, it does put a target on your back, but at the same time, you want to be proud. You want players who come here to be proud of their club and to play for the shirt. You say that all the time. Yes, players come and go, but when they're here, you want them to have a sense of pride. And I think those 5 stars show that. As silly as it sounds, we're talking about stars on a jersey, but at the same time, it means something because those stars have significance. And so one of the things that always bugged me because this was the year after Seattle won it, the year after. So Seattle had a gigantic gold star, and then the Galaxy had a tiny gold star. And it's like, well, how do you know? Why is theirs bigger? I don't want to get too Freudian here.
Yes. But I mean, you sit there and you go that it's like unless you're standing next to each other. Yeah. How do you know which one is which? Like, there was no clear, and that's what it became the differentiation.
It was confusing.
Yeah, it should be. DC United should be able to have 4 stars on their kit, and the Galaxy should have 5 stars. And you know what? If they win 5 more championships, they should have 10 stars on it, and you should figure out how it works.
Well, here's where I'm actually okay with the 5 stars meaning, or the gold star meaning 5, but until you pass 5. I think 5 is the barrier, because if it gets a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, with the number of teams that are coming into the league, I don't think we're going to be seeing a circle of 10.
Anybody have 10 yet?
Yeah, we're not going to see that, but I think you wait until it starts to look silly, and then you change the rules. There was no reason to change it, especially and again, picking nits. Right. Some people were talking about the formation, how it's changed. I like the 2015 jersey, that formation. Yeah. I don't have an issue with this. This is fine.
There's 5 of them, okay?
But until it starts looking really silly.
There's 5 of them, okay? Let's get back to more controversy. Actually, no. I have more. Before we get, I want to close on controversy again.
Hot takes.
Yeah, I know. The LA Galaxy have moved their June New England Revolution. This is breaking news. I mean, this is. Whew. I mean, I'm sure you read it earlier this week.
This is the controversy. This is what everyone's a buzz on Twitter and Reddit. I heard they're all talking about this move of the game.
A game originally scheduled for Saturday, June 1st, will now be played on Sunday, June 2nd, kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. still, and will be played on Spectrum Sportsnet and Spectrum Deportes. LA Galaxy also announcing that 21 games will be shown by Spectrum Sportsnet, Spectrum Deportes this year. That includes 2 preseason games. This one coming up against Toronto, and then the last one, I forget who the Galaxy even play in that one. I have to look at it. It is Colorado Rapids. That's who it is. Colorado Rapids on February 23rd. Both of those should be broadcast on Spectrum Sportsnet, and you'll have the game against the Vancouver Whitecaps at the Orange County Great Park, which will not be televised by them. And I don't know if it'll be streamed either, so don't yell at me. It's not my fault.
I just see a similar situation to what you saw at the Vissel Kobe game.
Yeah, lots of tweets.
That's
right. I'll be tweeting.
Post-game video.
I'll be tweeting. I'll be there.
Why don't you FaceTime?
Yeah,
we'll just put it on there and FaceTime. That way everyone can see what's going on.
You know what? Technically, that breaks my
illegal?
Yes, that breaks my media contract that you're not allowed to broadcast live things. So
guess what? He's going to rip up that media, restructure, take less money.
Yeah. I'll only take $4.5 million this year for that. Injuries real quick. Giovani dos Santos with his leg muscle injury. Unknown whether or not he will be ready in time for the Toronto game. Rolf Felcher out with a leg injury. Unknown whether he'll be ready for it. Sebastian Lletget seems out right now with Guillermo Barros-Schelotto saying he's out for about 10 days with a leg strain. So it was a cramp, and then it was a leg strain. He's out for 10 days. That's probably okay. We'll just pretend that that's okay.
You don't like the move from cramp to a leg strain, but we'll see.
No, you sort of take it. All right.
This is the time to rest.
All right, now we go.
In the preseason.
Now we go. Controversy. Let's end it on the hot takes.
We're going hot.
LA Galaxy to erect a statue of David Beckham in front of the stadium. Oh, my people have the hot takes going for this. I will tell you, on the face of it, having a stadium, from my perspective, having a statue of David Beckham in front of StubHub Center is a perfectly wonderful idea. I will say, from my perspective, making him first is the problem that you run into. If you wanted to unveil 5 statues at the same time, he could be one of those 5. But the fact that he's the first one probably has people going, why is he first above everybody else? And if it's a league statue, I can understand David Beckham being outside the league things.
So that's what we need outside of Minnesota United Stadium.
And
we
David
need
Beckham.
a statue of David Beckham.
That's
but
right.
The LA Galaxy, the club where he played, we're not going to have anything.
Well, no, I mean, yes, exactly. No,
So
in
can
front
I
of
agree and disagree with you?
No, you can't. Hold on, let me finish. Like, if you wanted to put David Beckham for quote unquote, if you want to say saving the league, and certainly his introduction to the LA Galaxy put the LA Galaxy on an international level they had never been on before. I'm not going to disagree with it at all. He raised the profile of the club. You can argue all those things, but you're looking at David Beckham. I'm going to keep wanting to say Bingham. I wonder if I've said it already. You're looking
erecting a statue. Careful.
Yes,
careful.
I know. I'm going to try. You're putting a statue of David Beckham up in front of StubHub Center as if he was the savior of the club, and I just think that there are other guys, and I could name a bunch that would come before him. That certainly made the club what it was until he showed up.
Faces of the franchise. Yeah. I can see with that. So, again, I'm going to agree and disagree with you. So, it seems to be an unpopular opinion on social media with diehard fans. But, again, the people who are on Reddit, on Twitter, and posting on, these are diehard fans.
Right.
And so, this is a small sample size to the general public.
It's not the real world.
It's not the real world.
Yes.
But so I get why they're not thrilled on why Beckham gets one before anyone else. I think the first face of the franchise was Kobe Jones.
Right.
If you want to talk stats and things like that, that's one thing. But I think when you talk face of the franchise, putting the Galaxy initially, Kobe Jones is someone that stands out. Jorge Campos is another name that comes out. So, and the other thing for diehards and defenders of MLS, Beckham represents the 2.0 mentality, bringing in the aging European superstars to boost the league. And I think that's something that a lot of defenders of soccer in the United States push back on. So you want to push back on this because he's everything that people made fun of the league for. So you don't want to embrace it. So I think that's part of the reason why people want to buck against this trend. But I think Beckham represents, on a whole, the shift. You nailed everything. There was a shift in the league's growth because Beckham came. Right. There's a shift in this club's prominence in the world because Beckham came here.
Right.
There's a reason when there are leaks about players coming to MLS why it's always the LA Galaxy. It's because internationally, David Beckham put the club on the map. So there are people who might want to argue that the club may have been able to get there anyway, but the fact is when Beckham came, that's when we are on the map internationally. That's why, Zlatan talked about having conversations with Beckham, and that's why he chose to come to the Galaxy. So I think he's totally deserving of a statue, and I don't have a problem with him being first. The only thing that maybe they could have said is they're not saying this is the one and only statue.
Right.
There's not going to be any
more.
other statue. It might be like Staples Center where they do it. And it just reminds me of like bands. When people talk about the greatest bands of all time, it's the Beatles. And that's not a sexy answer. People could say, well, the Rolling Stones did it longer. Pink Floyd brought it, a little harder. Queen was more innovative. Prince was a better musician. But no one's going to get mad at you for saying the Beatles.
Right.
There's Beatlemania. Right. They were definitely a phenomenon. And you can't get mad at that choice. And I think that's what, Beckham is. He's the Beatles. You can't get mad because he was a big deal. And if people want to argue against, what his play on the field, I don't think they watched games because I think his play on the field backed up. He had some great service. There were obviously rough patches, but I think on the whole, he did good things for this club. He won championships. He was a part of a dynasty, and he did well during his time here. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a good choice.
I will say this, that from the tourist perspective, having a statue of David Beckham is a good call.
From a business perspective, if you want people to come visit, you want to make Dignity Health Sports Park a destination, having a statue, I got through it.
I know.
Having a statue of David Beckham is going to bring people in. It's going to bring people to your stadium. They're going to want to come and take pictures of them. My parents, they went to Madeira in Portugal, took a picture with the Cristiano Ronaldo statue.
Right.
With the bulge. Not the one with the funky eyes, the one with the bulge.
One with the bulge. That is rubbed very clean. Family show.
My parents stayed away from doing that.
Yeah, sure they did. They just didn't take a picture of that part.
My dad didn't show me the behind the scenes footage there. But again, it makes sense. I don't have a problem with it. But at the same, I understand why people want to buck against it. But I personally, I don't see any issue with it because of what he did for the club, what he did for the league. When you think about MLS and the growth, he is a huge part of the LA Galaxy history and the league's history, and so I think he's deserving.
Give me your if you were going to put five on your Mount Rushmore, I'm going to give you an extra one.
You're going to give me five. I think it's Kobe.
Okay.
It's Landon Donovan, David Beckham,
Mm-hmm.
Keane,
Mm-hmm.
and then for me, Cienfuegos becomes number 5 if you're giving me 5.
Yeah, I think Carlos Ruiz people were throwing out there. I would say that you could put a statue of Doug Hamilton out there for different reasons.
But that's different.
It is different.
Are people going to come if you're building a statue garden to make it, players and have people come? Are you? And again, Doug Hamilton did great things for the team.
Right.
Are you going to build? Hey, let's go take a picture in front of the Doug Hamilton statue.
You and I might do that.
Yeah, but no disrespect to the guy, and that sounds bad because of circumstances. But it just Beckham makes sense. It makes sense. I get it.
Phil Anschutz.
Phil Anschutz again. Later down the line, well, we've talked about name the field, Anschutz Field, and I think Anschutz Field at Dignity Health Sports Park.
Good.
Let's add more add more letters to the acronym here.
Let's make it go. No, I mean you're right. You nailed all the big ones, and that's
why I'm here.
That's sort of what's at. That's why I don't have an issue with it.
Well, and I think now that we need to get over it. I think now it's going to be here's the hot topic. What should the statue be of?
Yeah.
What's going to be the picture? Is it going to be a free kick? Is it going to be him holding the MLS Cup? Is it going to be him? I think that's something we should get excited about.
Wow. That's fun. We could talk about that.
I'm going to post that on Galaxy Profile tonight.
That's
Vote.
what we'll do.
Place your votes.
That's how it'll go. All right. So that's what we have right now. The LA Galaxy getting ready to face off against Toronto FC coming up on Saturday. I hope to see everybody there. I'm going. It's a soccer game.
It's the same. My brother has, he has a
Your
birthday.
brother.
He has a birthday. He has a birthday
We just
party.
talked about this, about whether or not you would
I
dump
love
that
the guy.
much. Okay.
Listen, LA Galaxy. I know you're listening. I know I did this earlier. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same bit.
Yes.
Circle back.
Yes.
If you're listening, I'll take $4.5 million not to go to my brother's birthday party.
That'll work.
I'm willing to do that.
1.5? Would you do it for 1.5?
You know what? Let me think about. Yes, I do it for
okay.
1.5.
Okay.
So I won't be there. But again, preseason, there's plenty of opportunities for me to see the LA Galaxy this season.
Somebody, by the way, just came up with the statue that needed to be first and wasn't first.
Cosmo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, and I'm not even chat room and I get along. I'm right in line with you guys.
Okay. All right.
Except for last week. I'm watching you guys.
Okay. That's
Easy.
good. That's good. All right. We'll see how it goes. LA Galaxy facing off against Toronto FC, 7:30 p.m. preseason game. So we'll see everybody at Dignity Health Sports Park. And then, of course, Saturday, February 16th is the Orange County Great Park game against the Vancouver Whitecaps. And that game is at 5 p.m., but at 12 p.m., you're pre-gaming with us, Corner of the Galaxy, at Taps Brewery in Tustin. Come on over there. We're going to have a raffle for a signed Galaxy kit. We have some special guests lined up. The Galaxy Star Squad's going to be there. So certainly will be interesting to see how that all goes. If it's raining, we have an inside place. If it's not raining, we'll be out on the patio. So there's a bunch of stuff there, but you want to get there. We'll be selling our scarves there. And by the way, special show price, $20 a piece, no tax, $20. You give me $20, I give you a scarf.
Wow. We take $1.5 million?
$1.5 million. No problems.
And kudos to you. I'm getting excited to it. If you watch the live stream, you see COG Studios, you know that Josh doesn't mess around when it comes on to setting up an event and making something look good and be a fun experience. So I'm excited. It sounds like everything's going to be set up nicely. So I encourage everyone to come out. It's going to be a fun time.
And there's beer. I mean, if you're into that,
you had me at beer.
There's beer. So we'll be doing that. Eric will be joining me. Mike Araujo is a confirmed guest there. So I think we're gonna have live intros, which will be way more better.
Speaking my
way
language.
more better. Wow. Maybe it's time I stop and put the mic away.
Technical difficulties.
T-shirts that went out. You guys did awesome. Amazing job. We sold 75 T-shirts for the Best in the Galaxy T-shirts there. Those shirts should be shipping out here in the next couple of days, in the next week. They'll get there. They might even get there in time for you to wear them to the event if you wanted to do that, but it's going to be real close depending on kind of when you ordered and how fast they can ship all 75 shirts out. So that stuff but you guys did amazing. You're going to allow us to do some things, and so for that, we thank you very much. But again,
get bottle service at Taps. That's what I heard. Bring out the champagne with the sparklers. We're doing it big.
I don't think that's that's definitely not going to happen. So we'll see how that goes. Just an update on the schedule for next week. Monday night show will go on as planned. However, I will be recording it from Atlanta. Kevin will not be joining me. Kevin is overseas right now. So basically, I'll be recording that sometime Monday night in Atlanta. Whether it's late, I don't know.
Yeah, this is bizarro world. Atlanta United's coming to Fullerton.
And I'm
You're
going to Atlanta.
Yeah, things are all backwards here.
Yeah, by the way, that should happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. There's going to be another Monday where I'm going to be down in San Diego, and I'll have to record that one probably by myself again in order to do all that stuff. So we'll still keep you updated. Thursday show still should be fine, but just sort of keep an eye. If for some reason something goes haywire, it's because I'm in Atlanta, which could be a difficulty depending on sort of what happens and how it all goes. So we'll certainly have something. Might be a little bit shorter, but I'll make sure I get you your Galaxy news. Shouldn't be an issue. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else? I think that's about it.
I think mentioning the game coming up against Toronto, Do you want to talk about Toronto's 5-1 loss to Eric Winalda's Las Vegas Lights?
That was fun.
That's embarrassing.
It was.
I think we're going to see a team that's a little bit of a dumpster fire.
I hope. Well, I mean, quite honestly, for the Galaxy, they need all of the confidence going into.
You have a team that's coming in after a guy took a swing at a coach. DPs are blasting him, taking him swings on Instagram.
Giovinco's gone.
That's what I'm saying. He's the one who bashed them pretty hard on an Instagram post.
He wanted to stay.
Yeah.
He was like, I would have been happy to stay, but apparently that's not how you guys roll. So. Away he goes. Ali Curtis making the moves up there, man. I'll tell you. Imagine if he was with the Galaxy, what he would have done. I mean, again, I lobbied for that. I lobbied for that pretty hard.
Does he do consulting? Can you tell us how to get out of this DP situation?
I think Dennis DeClose is doing a good job. I think that he's hamstrung right now, and so
they're just in I'm going to be careful with my language.
Yes.
Careful what show I'm on.
Yes.
They're in a tough situation.
They are in a very tough situation, and I think it's interesting that Klein is keeping everything at arm's length because really this is his previous administration's doing.
The blood is on his hands.
DTK and GBS need to sort of deal with that, so we'll see how that goes. People in the chat room, yes, I believe there will be tacos at the event. They have a food truck there. I'm not 100% sure what they serve, but
if Cosmo's going to be there, there'll be tacos.
We'll see how that goes. We'll see if
Jermaine Jones was there, they'd be vegan tacos.
We'll see if Cosmo can make it. He's a busy guy, so we'll see how that goes.
I thought you said Cosmo was coming.
We were hoping. We had our fingers crossed. We'll see.
Cosmo, if you're listening, we need you.
That's right. That's how it was. All right. Let's see. Anything else that you want to get to, or are we good?
Let's get out of here.
All right. Tell people where they can find you, and then we'll go.
You can find me on Twitter at GISHammer. You could also hear me on the Guys in Shorts podcast at Guys in Shorts Pod. This week we had the LeBron James stalker, Melody Morales. She comes on and sets the record straight on her recent viral fame. And then, of course, you could always follow me on Instagram at GalaxyProfoul, where you can see all the Galaxy social media news. That's at GalaxyProfoul.
All right. If you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at JGuesman, JGUESMAN, and, of course, at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. All of our articles, all of our podcasts, our videos, all that fun stuff is right there for you, so please check it out as soon as you can. Cornerofthegalaxy.com. Our scarves are for sale there. Click the shop button. Our stickers are for sale there. Click the shop button. And, of course, ramping up to Saturday, February 16th, our live show at Taps Brewery in Tustin. All right, for Eric the Portuguese Hammer Vieira, I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.